Probably what it is. Welcome back, Addicts, to another Goblin Slayer episode review. I don't know which one. This is episode 6. I'm looking off my TV. And I'm Josh.
I'm Michael.
And yeah, let's just get right into it. Michael, tell us about what happened in this episode.
So in this episode, they got to Watertown, a town that's surrounded by water. And there's a problem with goblins. So goblins are actually coming inside your house and taking your women.
Snatching your people up.
They are snatching people up, yeah. So these goblins are infiltrating the city. The officials don't know why, and the army isn't called in because they think it's just goblins. This is Goblin Slayer mission. He goes into the sewers. Chaos ensues, and he kills a lot of goblins.
Yeah, with his team that he's got with
Yes, he's got the same team that we talked about in the previous episode, rocking with him, killing with him.
Yeah, and this was, I don't know which one, because what was it? It was in episode 3 or 4?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was one of those two. The last one that had a lot of action in this. I think it was on par with that one, because we don't get like a huge boss fight like we did with that one, but the action shown in this episode was really good.
A lot of goblins' deaths.
A lot of goblins' deaths, but a lot of comedy too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of comedy mixed with this. I think this was the first one that I noticed, at least, that didn't cut away from the action at all, which I really appreciated. I mean, nothing much for like development besides meeting that new character that's related to the temple.
Yeah, she is the Archbishop of the Supreme God or something.
And she's blind.
She's blind, or covers her face, we don't really know. And she's pretty powerful. Supposedly she's like the Sword Maiden or whatever. And we'll see how she plays in. But for now, we're killing goblins.
Yep. And we do get a sneak peek at the very end that there is not what it seems to be with the goblins. Like, they're not naturally reproducing down there, that there is a mastermind behind it. At least that's what it's insinuating. And there is another threat that lurks in the sewers that is pretty prevalent in some parts of the country, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
In Florida.
Maybe Florida. Yeah, there is it looked 10 to 15 feet, if not maybe 25 feet sized alligator. Doesn't really attack the adventurers directly, but it does kill some goblins. So
great tool to use.
Great tool to use, yeah. And in addition to that, we actually got several unrelated characters, including the hero of the world.
Yeah.
That rescued the world from the Demon King.
I almost forgot about that. We get, like, I guess a retelling of at the guild headquarters of this one guy. And he wasn't part of the party. He was just like somebody that like watched it, I guess.
Yeah.
And we get to see them take over, which was pretty comical because of the way that they retell it. Again, there was a lot of comedy in this episode, probably the most out of any of the other ones. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if it's really hard to say. I think it's probably the best. I don't know. This is one of the best episodes. I would say. Don't know which one I like better in terms of action episodes. Whether this one or like the last heavy one, where they were taking out Ness, because that one got a bigger fight at the end. But I still really enjoyed it, and it's going in the direction I'm liking so far.
Yeah, there was a couple things we did have in the previous episode. We had some odd CGI, maybe once in the episode. But in this one, we had 2 or 3 times where Goblin Slayer is walking, and it kind of is weird.
Yeah.
Besides that, all the animations in the show have been really amazing. I really like the fight scenes. He gets to use a sword in this one. And they use kind of like a classic... Before this episode, most of the fights we've seen were... There was magic, but most of it was like... As far as swordplay, it was like normal, they stab, it's pretty slow. Yeah. But in this one, we actually got to see more like the anime style fighting, where they cut things in half.
They're aerodynamic, or
yeah,
I don't know. It's from a different series of
acrobatic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's
but, yeah. So I enjoyed that. It kind of showed, because I think that was one of the things I was a little worried about at the beginning of the series when they were showing action. It seemed really choppy, and they did cut away from stuff. But in this one, you get to see it fully play out, and it's actually animated, really fast-paced, and there's a lot of different moves going on at the time, so I think that upped the ante. As far as the CGI, I'm not a fan of CGI. I tolerated some things. I would say this show, it does it probably one of the better of the ones I have seen it in. I don't see it very necessary, because they don't use it in an action sense, but they just use it for like when he's walking around. So, don't know why it's there, but it's not a big issue, I would say.
It's a thing that's in the show. Yeah, it's not terribly. The other thing is we know that the goblins... Well, Goblin Slayer's talked a little bit about how he's got to the mind of goblins. We now know that they do learn from previous tactics. That's why it's very important to kill goblins. And we know that they're also cowards.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this show we saw goblin boats, or a boat full of goblins. A boatload of goblins. And they're actually kind of like pirate themed, which I appreciated. Even though it didn't really play in that much, I appreciated that. The scale was a lot greater in this one. We got to see more of, I think the one character that shined more than in previous was the dwarf. He had a pretty cool magic. And then Priestess is still doing her thing. She's still MVP of the team. So, and we got to see Paprika.
Yes. Goblin Slayer's always got some trick up his sleeve that he's willing to throw at the goblins. And he typically likes to use things to disorient them. Also, what are you asking? Sorry, we have something off camera that is directing.
Yeah, distracting. Directing and distracting. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say I really like the use of Lizardman's weapon. I know we've seen it before, but it's just another thing that I like really find cool, and I was just like, hey, don't throw that away.
Yeah,
that's actually really important.
I only got 3 of those. We got to see more of Lizardman. They have some pretty comedic moments when they were up against the alligator. They're like, hey, can't you talk to your ancestor or relative or whatever?
Yeah. Or like the elf's just like, hey, can we throw the dwarf into the alligator? Get food poisoning?
Yeah, exactly. We got some of those team building moments, and
I always loved how they bring in the sweet, sweet nectar.
They do. It's always in there. They always have cheese in this. For one, even if it's just for one frame, we always get to see some cheese.
Yeah.
So overall, what did you? You said it was one of the best episodes. We kind of went through all the moments.
It's just one of the ones that I most enjoy. I think that's mainly just because this one, it does have it does have a plot. They're going to take out goblins in this city because they're a big threat if they get out, and they've already been causing some problems. But for the most part, we do get like an action based, and I think for like the premise of the show, those are like the best episodes. Because like there was one, I think it was last week's episode. There wasn't a whole lot that went on. It was just kind of like their daily life, and while that was not a bad episode, it wasn't as intriguing. And so I like the ones that are more like this, where they balance it a little bit more, and for that reason, I think that's why it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite ones as well. I did like the action elements. I like the comedic timing of this one. We got to see more of the interesting characters, but at the same time, we didn't focus too much on them. And we'll have to see how it goes. I did like the ending. There is a sneak peek as to who's controlling the goblins. We don't know who they are or what's going to happen, but then there's a ton more goblins to kill. That's next episode. A lot of goblins dying. World saved.
I do think this episode does confirm that the people that he has around with him, that he's taking on these adventures, are going to be here to stay, and they're just part of the show now, which is fine because I really do like them. But I'm interested to see where their connections go forward. It's like I saw one comment. It was, I don't know if it was another video or I just saw like a comment on some, but they were like, he's building a harem and he doesn't even know it yet because like the elf chick always is like smiling at him now or whatever, which I don't wish for that, nor do I am interested to see that, but it is something interesting that they're building their relationship a little bit more. Like
short amount of time. And it's goblins, so he only cares about goblins.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, you want to goblins?
Goblins?
To kill goblins? Like no? Oh,
never mind. The other thing that we didn't talk about is I really like the music in this episode. Throughout 2 or 3 of the fight scenes, they even played the opening. I think there was one other, maybe it was the ending that they played, but they played.
They got this like rock.
Yeah, they had a rock
guitar
inspired kind of music that they played that was really paired well with the action scene. So that was one element that I was pleasantly surprised with.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about going forward? Anything you want to see for the next episode?
More goblins dying. We'll see if they can take out the commander this time, and we'll see how the sword princess lady is related to goblins and why.
Is it just me, or did we completely skip over what happened to those other people that we saw in the last episode?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see them end or anything, I guess they're planning on bringing them back. I don't know. I still, like, Michael, I would be completely fine, and I'm actually looking more forward to these more action ones. I still do want to see maybe an episode, or at least maybe half an episode about the gods, because I think that's something that can play in more.
To get more dice rolls.
Yeah. So that's something looking forward to, mainly just in the season, not so much the next episode. But hopefully we get a continuation directly of this, because I would hate to have a filler episode.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But anyway, I guess that will conclude this week's review.
10 minutes for the ad revenue.
10 minutes. So, we'll see you guys next week for the next episode. This upcoming week is Comic Week. So, if you guys are subscribed to our channel and you're looking forward to our comic content, please check it out because we got the newest issues of all the ones that we typically do, as well as
some surprises.
Yeah, some surprises. So, without further ado, we'll see you guys later. Peace out.